ونكسر الخوف. Next up عندنا a speaker who's an expert in IT, who happens to be a diver. دائما في الميتينجز مالتنا نطلع لتعليقاته، ومثل اخونا الكبير ودائما عنده تعليقات يعني حقيقيه وفعليه، والكريتيسيزم ماله جدا فعال. Let me introduce Toastmaster Dawood Almurjan. Do you hear me? Do you hear me, Toastmaster Dawood Almurjan? Good luck.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everybody. Testing. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
This is a mic test. I'm not going to be taking too much of your time. I know you're very busy. And so I really thank you for attending. Upper management, dear colleagues and friends. I'm going to start this speech by introducing a little device. In IT, we provide many services. Many services that you know and use every day. And this particular device we refer to as the radio, the SMK, walkie-talkie. Now this device is actually used by operations, HSC, the fire brigade, maintenance, among others. But if I was going to ask any of those professions, what do they need in order to do their jobs? They would usually not mention the radio. Now, the reason they mention it is because usually they look at what they studied and what they need in order to do their job, not the radio. But I'm here to tell you that some things that do not matter make a difference. I'm going to do that by telling a little story. When I was a young boy, about 5, my father recognized that I was a very quiet boy, shy, somebody that would not show any sign of loudness or irritation, just quiet and shy. It would be more noticeable when I go to family gatherings. All my cousins would be playing around, making a ruckus. Dawood, where is he? He's in the corner, shy, not showing any sound. My grandfather would say, "Where's Dawood?" I would show up. My father would sometimes tell me, "Come, say hi to your uncle." And I'd extend my hand, and my uncle would lean in, trying to hear a sound. No sound would come out. He said, "Dawood, raise your voice. I want to hear you." But that usually doesn't work. Actually, one time, me and my cousin had a radio, toy walkie-talkie, and we picked up the two devices. And he ran to the next room. And he was supposed to talk, and I was supposed to talk, and we were playing. And I can hear him across in the other room screaming, "Dawood, raise your voice, I can't hear you." That was my story for a long time during my childhood. Until one summer, I remember we went outside Kuwait for vacation, and we called my grandfather. And I picked up the phone. My dad had gave me the phone, and I was talking, but my grandfather didn't hear me. He said, "Dawood, هات صوتك, ما سمعك, raise your voice." But that was my limit. And then one day, in that summer, somebody picked up the radio and said, "The enemy forces have crossed the border. Kuwait is invaded." It was the summer of 1990, August 2nd. Kuwait, within a few days and a few weeks, became silent. No communication. If you were to call, nobody would answer. I remember even trying to give a call to my grandfather, and nobody would answer. My grandfather, uncle, and cousins, silent. As you know, the invasion did not last a few weeks. It lasted a few months. And so, my father arranged that I continue school in American school. And that's what I did. Now, English was a second language for me. And I was trying to learn English. And the teacher was having a hard time figuring out how much English I had and trying to teach me English. She She got very frustrated. Then one day, we had a little exercise. She said, we're going to have a debate. On CNN, there's a debate on whether or not the United States should send its troops to Kuwait, to liberate Kuwait. We're going to have two sides. One side is going to be against the United States sending its troops to Kuwait. The other side is going to be with the United States sending its troops to Kuwait. And she said, Dawood, take this side. And I sat there. And I remember my colleague, my friend, talking why the United States should not send its troops. And I thought, what is he talking about? Is he talking about my country? My grandfather, my cousin, my uncle? Never to see them, never to hear them? Never for Kuwait to be free? Never. I stood up. I said, no, the United States must send its troops to Kuwait. The United States must liberate Kuwait. Kuwait must be free. لازم ترجع الكويت. This was 30 years ago. And maybe you can see it. My blood is boiling even to this day. Something changed me that day. You can tell from my expression, but maybe if you imagine the look on the face of my friend when he faced that. Where did that voice come from? Then, a few months later, somebody again picked up the radio and said, Kuwait is free. We liberated Kuwait. The enemies passed beyond the borders. Kuwait rejoiced. Everybody in Kuwait went back into their phones, the communications. They went to the exchanges. I picked up the phone and I said, Yeddi, enta bkhair. He said, Minu, who is this? Dawood. Said, Sma'na صوتك. Thank God you're alive. And then we went to Kuwait. And my father didn't need to tell me, come say hi to your uncle. I went and I hugged them and my cousins. They saw a different person. What happened? In that classroom, that teacher did something cruel. She put a 12-year-old boy to defend his country, knowing that he doesn't have access to his parents, to his grandparents, to his uncles, or his family. That was cruel. But today, I thank her because she knew that I needed help. She thought, this person, this boy does not have a country and may not have a country. She doesn't know. And she said, he cannot continue his life like that. He must have a voice. And so she put the pressure on me. And that is what we actually do in Toastmasters. Sometimes we just build a little pressure for you to find your voice. Now, let me make sure they understand. Toastmasters doesn't actually matter. KNPC, core business, will still go forward. Everybody in your profession will do it. Just the same way that in that classroom, I was a 12-year-old boy talking to 12-year-old students. It did not matter. I did not liberate Kuwait. It did not matter. But it made a difference. And that is what we do in Toastmasters. Now, in Toastmasters, we say, if something doesn't work, it doesn't have a voice. I must say that Toastmasters has changed. I lost my train of thought. In any case, what I wish to say really is, your professions can work. You can be an elite in any of your professions. But really, just like this radio, it doesn't matter if we can't hear you. So, I want to ask you, do you hear me? Because by having a Toastmasters, KNPC is telling you it wants to hear you.